Hello, my name is Shawn McKenna, and this is Shawn's Ready Room. Today we're going to be covering asset management at a high level. Many of our clients that we support are state housing authorities and large institutional banks that invest in tax credit equities and low-income housing. And as a result, we have put together many processes that support those types of efforts. Asset management is a very kind of general term. The Institute of Asset Management defines as the coordinated activity of an organization to realize value from the assets of the organization. So as we look at the affordable housing business and the entities in it, we've got a few different constituents, each of them representing a little different, value realization from the assets. We've got the housing authorities, the public housing authorities, and the federal government, HUD, and the IRS that are all on a mission to provide more affordable housing for the United States. We also have the developers, the syndicators, property managers who, while supporting that activity of providing more affordable housing for the U.S., also are using this industry as a way to make a living. Software companies like ProLink as well. So when we're looking at then those types of organizations and how asset management affects or what types of roles those organizations have for asset management, I think that you pretty much have to market, or at least ProLink, the way we look at it, is we've got the larger institutional investors that have thousands of assets to manage, and then we have property managers, developers, PHAs that have fewer assets, but a lot of quantity, a lot of tasks that they perform that are asset management process tasks. Today, we're going to focus a little bit more on the institutional side of that, and really kind of from the housing authority or the syndicator perspective. And from that perspective, we have three major sections or logical groupings of asset management, and those are origination, portfolio management, and then final disposition. Origination, why does that get included with asset management? Many organizations have a separate department that does new business development or origination, and really that's because it's a very specialized area and has a specialized skill set. The reason why it's important to have origination as part of the overall asset management function is because the life of the asset in the affordable housing business is going to be anywhere from 15 to 30 years. If it's that long, we want to make sure that we start with the right asset, and we want to start with the right agreements and commitments from all the parties so that we can last that time frame, so that we can be maintainable and sustainable. So that's a very important reason to have asset management as part of the origination process. It's also part of asset management's function is to support certain levels of assets at certain returns on investment or productivity levels, and the only way that you're going to be able to do that in the long run is to have some ability to throttle origination up and down. So we've got that as a major component. Again, it's where the deal gets set. From that point on, it's very difficult to go back and change things. We pretty much have to live with what we've got. When the originated asset becomes a part of the portfolio, then we move to a new stage, which is a monitoring and reporting, more of a partnering with the other entities involved in the transaction to create the best value we can with that asset. This is a very long-term commitment in the affordable housing business, a 30-year commitment in most cases, or longer. And because of that, asset management then becomes probably the most significant single area of emphasis that we have on these properties. So asset management also includes both the upkeep of the property, the reporting to the financial organizations and other stakeholders, as well as the maintenance of the compliance of the property, compliance with external parties, regulatory compliance, as well as compliance with partnership agreements and loan covenants and things like that. Just as an oversight to make sure that all the things that need to be done on the property are done on the property. So we've talked about origination and portfolio management in the asset management process. The third piece would be final disposition. We've got a way to add assets to our portfolio. We need to have a way to basically sell off or remove assets from our portfolio. Final disposition is a good word because it doesn't necessarily, for a for-profit, that might mean preservation, refinancing the portfolio and bringing it up to speed, and then setting it up for another 30 years. For a for-profit organization, that might be their exit point at that final disposition. Either way, there's some specialized things that you need to keep in mind around final disposition and the impact that the entire origination and portfolio management process have on the final disposition. Today we discussed the three major components of asset management. We will be going into further discussion about each of those components in future videos, and thank you for joining me.